Let's move on to main topic number 2. And our second main topic today gets submitted to us by Omar94. And Omar94 writes, "Hey, John and Rob, if he's here. He is here, as a matter of fact. Huge fan since AMC days from Florida. This is probably a dumb question, but what exactly do cinematographers do? I mean, how influential are they with how movies and TV shows look? Because directors are the ones saying how they want the shots and scenes to look, where to place the camera and where to move it during a shot. So in a sense, it makes me feel like directors are the actual cinematographers. Thanks, and bring on the filthy." All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, man. And listen, you are not the first person to ask the question, what is actually a cinematographer? We hear the term a director of photography, cinematographer. For the most part, those are two interchangeable terms. So wait a minute, I thought it was called director of photography. Yeah, a DOP or a cinematographer, kind of one and the same person normally. But what do they do? And it's understandable that there's this bit of confusion because, like, you see the director, or we think of the director saying, I want this shot and I do this and blah, blah. So what is it the cinematographer does exactly? The best way I know that I think of to describe it is this. Think of a costume designer, right? Think of a costume designer. The costume designer is the expert on designing costumes. The costume designer will design the costumes, but they still take their lead from the director. The director will tell the costume designer what it is they're kind of looking for, but it's then the costume designer that then does make sure that the director gets what it is he or she wants, that they get those costumes that way, and they'll show the director, here's all the sketches I have for the various costumes, and the director may say, yeah, I like that one, but instead of black, make it red or something like that, but it's still the costume designer that does all that work. Now, think of that in the same terms of the cinematographer. The director may say, look, they have storyboards and say, I want these types of shots. But now, just like it's the costumes designer's job to bring that into being and actually make it work using their expertise to make it happen, now it's the cinematographer's job to go about executing it the best way possible to get it to what the director's vision was. There's actually a masterclass on it, and I lifted this from the masterclass, but it's a good thing. This is what they describe cinematography as. A cinematographer, also known as a director of photography, is in charge of the camera and the lighting crew. They are the person responsible for creating the look, color, lighting, and framing of every single shot in a film. The film's director and cinematographer work closely together, as the main job of the cinematographer is to ensure that their choices support the director's overall vision for the film, just like a costume designer or a set designer or whatever. The cinematographer may also act as the camera operator on more low-budget productions. So it's absolutely true. We will see the director calling out things, but they do that for all aspects of the film production. But on a proper film set, that cinematographer is the actual responsibility. It's the actual person responsible for creating the look of the film, and they take their lead from the director like every department does, but that's their job. So all the camera people and lighting people and all their crew, they work for the cinematographer. So anyway, Rob, you have worked on more of these sets. You've been on sets of Lord of the Rings and all these sorts of things. When somebody asks you, what's a cinematographer? Why are they important? How do you address it? What do you tell them?
Well, I've often used or heard the term painting with light.
Ooh.
So imagine if you walk into a room that's very brightly lit and you just turn on all the lights and everything is basically uniform. The light just is all bright and it's all one color. Now, imagine if you're making, say, a horror film and you want to have pools of light throughout the room. You want to make, like, in the distance darker so somebody can come out of, say, a closet door or from behind a barren room that might be dressed completely can be totally painted with light, with shadows, with colored gels, with all kinds of things. You could take, a set is a bare canvas, but then the cinematographer and his team comes along and they might hang 8 or 10 different kinds of lights using shapes across the light to create shafts of light. I mean, there's a million different things a great cinematographer can do that even a director can set up, the kind of shot you want or even the framing. But a cinematographer's crew and the cinematographer can turn that into a beautiful canvas of all kinds of different lights and shadows that only a cinematographer knows how to do. And invaluable. It's an invaluable skill that cannot be ever diminished.
So hopefully that answers that question. I know a lot of people wonder about that. It's a totally logical question to ask. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight into it. Anyway, guys, how would you add to the description of what a cinematographer does? Is it a question you've thought about before? Are there other roles in filmmaking that you've often hear about, but you're not quite sure what it is? Jump on down into the comments section below and leave your thoughts there. Okay, guys.